Good morning. We are the senior youth group, and it warms our hearts to be offering worship today. If you are a first-time visitor or this is your 1000th time coming to South Church, welcome. Today, our youth group will be sharing our thoughts on building beloved community, which is this month's theme. In this time of isolation, building community is more important than ever.
We are so lucky to have grown up in a church that works toward building the beloved community. And still, even for us, just feeling connected to one another is especially hard right now.
Our hope for today's service is that we can share a little bit about our own reflections on the theme to remind you about the communities that you have and inspire you to think with us about how we might work together to build a better world. Thank you for joining us today.
Calling all singers. The South Church Choir will be making a video for Easter Sunday. Don't miss out on being part of making this uplifting music for people to enjoy. Please email choir president Theo Wiegand at theodore.wiegand@gmail.com to sign up by February 20th. We'll send you all the instructions and materials that you need. If you have any questions, please contact our music director, Joanne Connolly, at joannasing@aol.com for more information. Are you new to South Church or a longtime attendee who wants to know more? The Fellowship Associates are hosting their Spring Journey to Membership classes at 11:15 a.m. on Sundays, March 7th, 14th, and 21st. The 90-minute virtual sessions are an opportunity to explore and share individual spiritual journeys and learn more about South Church and Unitarian Universalism. For more information, please contact fellowship at southchurch-uu.org. Consider becoming a fellowship, worship, social justice, pastoral, or learning associate. Shared Ministry is accepting applications now through April 1st, with each program in need of new members. Consider how you want to live your mission at South Church. The associate programs have been monumental in their efforts over the last year in carrying out their missions within our beloved community. Please email sharedministry@southchurch-uu.org for more information. And finally, during the month of January, we asked you to nominate your favorite organizations for Shared Plate, and we have now compiled all of those organizations and are ready to vote. Each member has 5 total votes on one ballot, and any ballot with more than 5 votes will not be counted. Complete instructions are on the ballot, and voting ends at midnight on February 28th. Voting information can be found in your Sunday morning email and on the South Church website.
I'm Eden Murphy, and for the opening words, I'm going to share a reading by Reverend Dana Worsnop, and it's called I Want to Be with People. Often people say that they love coming to a place with so many like-minded people. I know just what they are getting at, and I know they aren't getting it quite right. I don't want to be with a bunch of people who think just like me. I want to be in a beloved community where I don't have to think like everyone else to be loved, to be eligible for salvation. I want to be with people who value compassion, justice, love, and truth, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things. I want to be with independent-minded people of good heart. I want to be with people who have many names and no name at all for God. I want to be with people who see me in my goodness and dignity, who also see my failings and foibles, and who still love me. I want to be with people who feel their inner connection with all existence and let it guide their footfalls upon the earth. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it. I want to be with people who are willing to walk the tightrope that is life and who will hold my hand as I walk mine. I want to be with people who let church call them into a different way of being in the world. I want to be with people who support, encourage, and even challenge each other to higher and more ethical living. I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of the Spirit. I want to be with people who covenant to be honest, engaged, and kind, who strive to keep their promises and hold me to the promise I make. I want to be with people who give of themselves, who share their hearts and minds and gifts. I want to be with people who know that human community is often warm and generous, sometimes challenging, and almost always a grand adventure. In short, I want to be with people like you.
Hi, my name is Jillian. As we light our chalice this morning, I am sharing the words from a poem I found in the publication Poetry Nation. The poet is Mikey S. Treat others fairly and try to live with them in harmony. Have patience with others, no matter how difficult it might be. If you desire to see a better world, it starts with you. Don't grumble about how bad things are. Get busy. There is much to do. Be a person who brings positive change and works for peace and unity. You can help to transform the world into a beloved community. At South Church, we nurture spiritual growth through worship, learning, and community. We celebrate the worth and dignity of all people, and we inspire one another to act on our faith in the larger community.
I feel the current raging around me. Try to summon up my strength once more. I am weary on this journey, afraid I will not reach that distant shore. I cry for help, feel like I'm sinking. There is no one near me I can see. There you are in the water with me. Take my hand and guide me graciously. Will you come with me on this journey? Every breath we take, keep reaching for the dawn. I know alone that I will falter. With a good friend near me, I will carry on. There is a kindness in your smile and a gentleness within your speech. You reassure me, your love surrounds me. I know safety is at last within my reach. Will you come with me on this journey? Every breath we take, keep reaching for the dawn. I know alone that I will falter. With a good friend near me, I will carry on. It's an illusion we carry with us as we wade on through the waters of our lives. That we must be strong and hold our own here, but a helping hand will save us by and by. Will you come with me on this journey? Every breath we take, keep reaching for the dawn. I know alone that I will falter. With a good friend near me, I will carry on. I know alone that I will falter. With a good friend near me, I will carry on. With a good friend near me, I will carry on.
Good morning. A bunch of us wrote a story for you today about the ideas of beloved community. We hope you enjoy it.
Once upon a time, there was a little pond where lots and lots of animals all happily lived. All of the animals had their own little communities and went about their lives just like everyone else. Then suddenly, one day, there was a great big whirlpool. It twirled, swirled, and twisted up the river in a big circle, reaching all the way down to the bottom. Then just as suddenly as it had come, the whirlpool was gone. After it had passed, the animals decided not to give it a second thought and went back to their business. However, one group of frog eggs had been picked right up by the whirlpool and settled amongst a group of fish eggs. Though the eggs were completely fine, not one other animal had seen this happen. Over the time, the eggs hatched and the little tadpoles and baby fish swam around. They ate together and played together and even went to school together. The tadpoles and fish loved each other, and they were living a wonderful life. Until one day, something strange started happening. One by one, all the tadpoles started growing legs. This is pretty cool, and they were really excited about it, especially Timmy Tadpole.
Look, Frankie Fish, I can swim even faster now.
Wow, Timmy, that's great.
All the frogs danced around with their new legs, and the fish celebrated with them. But now they were starting to notice a problem.
I'm getting a funny feeling in my belly.
Several other frogs frowned and nodded their heads in agreement. Then one by one, the frogs started to float upward toward the surface of the river. The fish stared in awe as all of their frog friends rose up like bubbles until they reached the top. The frogs poked their little heads into the air and took a deep breath. Then they realized what had been wrong. Now they were grown-up frogs. They needed air to breathe. When they were tadpoles, they could swim around in the river for as long as they pleased. But now they had to come up to the surface to get air. Timmy Tadpole took a big breath and swam back down to the fish. The rest of the frogs followed and explained to the fish what had happened. As the frogs got used to living with their legs, they started noticing more problems. They would be in the middle of a conversation and have to leave to get air from the surface. Timmy felt like sometimes he had to be more focused on breathing and having fun with his friends. Timmy felt self-conscious about going up for air during school. He told Frankie Fish,
I wish I was a real fish, not just a dumb frog.
Frankie tried to tell Timmy that he was a great tadpole and the best friend ever, but Timmy wouldn't have it. The next day after school, Timmy went to the surface to ask for help. He wanted to know if there were any other animals like him living in the pond. He found a spider on a lily pad and went to ask him if he knew any other frogs. Timmy explained his problems to the spider, who listened thoughtfully before speaking.
Well, son, I've lived a long time. I've heard of a frog community around the pond, but I think they moved a little while back. I've got a cousin who lives over there, though. I could send word down the web that you might pop over for a visit. Just let him know that old Sal sent you, and I bet he could take you to see them.
Sal proceeded to give Timmy detailed instructions to get to his cousin's house. Timmy grinned and thanked the spider. He excitedly dove down into the pond to tell his friend about his discovery. Timmy talked to all of the other frogs, and they decided they would go on a journey to find the frog community. After a while, Timmy hugged Frankie goodbye and promised that he would visit. The fish told them to come back and share what the frogs were like. And just like that, Timmy and the other frogs gathered their belongings into duffel bags and set out on the journey ahead of them. At about lunchtime on their journey, the frogs agreed to stop and eat some food. As they munched on their water bug salad, they thought about what their new frog friends might be like. Timmy got so lost in thought that he didn't notice when the frogs had packed up and continued on the path without him.
Wait for me!
He packed up his little duffel bag, strung it across his back, and started to swim after the rest of his group. Before Timmy got very far, he heard a yell from behind him.
Hey, you there! Where are you all going at this hour?
Timmy started to swim even faster, but whomever the voice was coming from didn't give up.
Hey, wait for me. I'm going to catch up with you whether you like it or not.
And then the voice caught up to him.
You there! I've been calling for you!
Timmy turned around and saw a massive duck-shaped shadow above him. He swam up to the surface of the water.
Oh, hi. Sorry. I was in a rush to catch up with my friends here because we're on our way to meet more friends, and I hadn't noticed they started to leave without me.
Hold on a minute, lad. My name is Darcy, and I think you guys need someone to talk to.
Timmy told Darcy about everything that was going on in his life.
I wish I could live with the fish forever, but I can't keep going up to the surface for air, and I feel like such a burden because I can't help out around the pond without needing to breathe.
The other frogs had come back, and they nodded in agreement.
Ha ha ha! Follow me!
So the frogs did. Timmy and the frogs followed Darcy right back to the fish's corner of the pond.
Look down there!
What they saw nearly brought the frogs to tears. It was the fish moving everything, from Fizzy's algae collection to Frankie's prized seashells, up closer to the surface. This way, the frogs thought that the fish thought that the frogs would have a much easier time getting air to breathe. Timmy and the rest of the frogs thanked Darcy for bringing them here, and they paddled away. The frogs got together and talked about what they wanted to do next. Darcy had told them that the fish had moved their whole community up higher to the surface, but none of the frogs had believed them. Now they knew that they really did belong with the fish. Even though the frogs had to go to the surface to breathe, the fish still loved and accepted them. Timmy was so happy that he swam super fast across the bit of the pond toward Frankie Fish. Frankie was so happy to see Timmy and all of the others. They swam around and chased each other, laughing and playing.
Now that the frogs and the fish live higher up in the pond, everyone is more joyful. The fish got adjusted to their new location. They felt much happier to see their frog friends more comfortable. As for the frogs, they are much more relaxed knowing that the surface is nearby, and they get much less tired swimming all the way up for air. Frankie and Timmy sometimes race to the surface when Timmy needs air. Of course, it only takes them a few seconds now that they're closer. The frogs no longer feel like they're a burden to the fish, and they are able to contribute to the community. The frogs and the fish are happy that they are truly a family. Thank you for listening to our story, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the service.
Now it is time for our morning offering, so we can continue to do the important work within our congregation and in the larger community. Every month, our collection is shared. Half the donations support the ongoing work of South Church, and the other half is donated to an organization in our community who are doing important work. The shared plate recipient this month is the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire, who promote awareness and appreciation of African American history and life in order to build more inclusive communities today. You can find out more about this remarkable organization by checking out their website, blackheritagenh.org. They are hosting a Tea Talk today from 2 to 4 p.m. on the topic of race and care of the soul. But for now, please head over to the South Church website and click on the donate button in the top right corner of the homepage. Your donation will now be gratefully received.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on the morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. And what's so amazing that keeps us starting what do you think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me, all of us under its spell. We know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
We give thanks for this precious day,
For this precious day,
for all gathered here,
for those gathered here,
and those far away,
and those far away,
for the times we share,
for this time we share,
with love and care,
with love and care.
we give thanks,
Oh, we give thanks
for this precious day.
for this precious day.
Hello, my name is Max Murdach, and I'll be delivering today's meditation and prayer. We invite you now into our time of reflection or prayer, and we welcome you to share your own prayers with us in the live chat. This prayer was written by Reverend Gretchen Haley. It is called To Keep Moving Forward. She begins with a quote from Octavia Butler. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Octavia Butler. Will you pray with me now? We need a prayer for all the stuck places, and us and our bodies, our hearts, our minds. We need a prayer for the stuck places in our families and in our world. For all those days when it feels like everything is caught in an endless loop of same and status quo and sterility. What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. Those are words from 1,000 years ago. The book of Ecclesiastes. But still they ring true. What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. Spirit of truth, this is our prayer. Help us to get over ourselves. Help us to release the restrictions that fear and grief and white supremacy have kept on our imaginations. Open to us the holy possibilities that are available to us in this moment and in every moment. Connect us to the change that is everywhere. The change that is in the dirt, the change that is in the trees, the change that is in the rocks, in the river, and in the yellow squash flower, and in the once in 6,000 years appearance of flying stars. That we barely manage to catch a glimpse of now, but we do. Connect us to our own power, the shifting plates of our hearts, ancient dust we contain and shed with each breath, each step, and tend still to the grief of, and that has been lost. Tend to our grief and all we keep losing. The unfair choices, the no good options we find ourselves with, give us the courage to wail in anger, so that we can make space in our lungs for a new song, a lullaby for all that is being born. In this great and living darkness, the shadows of surprise and surrender, all that readies in us and in. Dr. King's still worthy dream of beloved community, to change, to be changed, to know all is God, God is change. We give thanks for this. We call out with thanks for this. We sing out praise and gladness for this. that we can wake up to this world again, that we can wake up to its beauty, its possibility, that we can keep getting on into good trouble, necessary trouble. Like the prophet John Lewis said, we praise and give thanks, that we have the strength, and most of all, that we have the company to keep moving forward, eyes open into the dawning day. Amen. Blessed be.
Hi, my name is Sophia Barlock, and I'm a senior in the youth group getting ready to graduate this coming June. It's really nice to have the chance to share this homily with all of you today. We think about the idea of a loving community, a utopia, a land where there's no shame, no judgment, no violence. It's technically impossible. Even a place deemed perfect has some sort of issue. In a time like now, the achievement of a loving community is more needed than ever. I grew up, like some of you, going to a Catholic church. I was baptized, got my first communion, and went to CCD every Sunday. The community surrounding me was one of love and good intentions, but also one of judgment and privilege. I don't want to bash on anyone's beliefs, of course. I have a lot of good memories from that church and the people I attended with. My family left our grandparents' church and came here when I was 9, but I wasn't very involved until 8th grade. Walking into my first day of COA and looking into the sea of colorful hair and clothing was almost a culture shock. Increasing my distance from the Catholic Church made me realize just how much I was missing out on as a kid. The way I was scared of God's wrath and if I would go to hell at 6, while my friends were taught not only of their worth and dignity, but that of all others too. There are so many instances where I realized how much I appreciated the people around me, and a lot of those moments were during our yearly service learning trips. 2 years ago, we traveled to Alabama for 5 days learning about racial justice. We began in Montgomery, stopping in Selma and spending our last 2 days in Birmingham. One of these moments occurred right before we attended a service at the 16th Street Baptist Church. If you need a good laugh, watch a group of UU teens try to pick out what to wear to a formal church. The week in Alabama had been mentally draining, having my eyes so open to our country's history and modern-day problems. The sadness and shame I was feeling hadn't affected me yet, until I watched my friends pick out cardigans and dress pants. Once I saw my best friend Maren walk out in linen overalls and her so-called dressy Birkenstocks, the emotions hit me like a truck. I had never loved a group of people so much than I did in that moment. I wanted to take all of them in their graphic tees and ripped jeans and put them in my pocket. I guess a part of me didn't want them to enter that church. It was almost like I didn't want them exposed to the crushing of self-expression I had once experienced. They had been raised by this loving community we call South Church, and I almost thought it would somehow change them for the worst. Of course, nothing happened. Just an uncomfortable group of 19 white kids standing in an African-American church being asked by the pastor if we had been saved by Jesus, while everyone else sat and stared. As shocking as it all was, it became a story for another day almost instantly. We went back to the Airbnb and put our regular clothes back on. I realized that it had not hurt our self-esteem, only made our world bigger and our bond stronger. This youth group, this loving community has taught me how to accept others, change, and myself. Accepting the cards you've been dealt is that much easier when you have people who love you for who you are. It took me a while to come to terms with the fact that I might love men and women. I needed to realize after all these years that I was not judged here, and it didn't make me any less valid. It may not seem that way to my grandparents and extended family, but who cares? I have plenty of second families here. This pandemic has been tough. Money, social, mental health-wise, just to name a few. I honestly don't know where I would be right now if it wasn't for you all. Quarantine has led me to dark places where I didn't know what the future held, and honestly, I didn't care. The reminder of what support I had helped me through a lot. Our church is one of love and welcoming, and if you're feeling that way, know that we are all here and have you in our hearts. This is as close to a loving community as I can think. We support each other to maintain the stable center that will support us in return when the time comes. If you're thinking about joining this congregation or one of our religious education groups, I highly recommend you do so. And if you are new to the youth group, please feel free to talk to us. Our joy comes from bonding with you guys, and it's been hard to accomplish that this year with the situation we're in. I can't explain how much of this group has changed me as a person. Not only the amazing trips, but the little memories that shape you. Like getting up early to get bagels and staying up late playing murder in the church. I don't want to say goodbye to this youth group, this loving community. But, as inconvenient as it is right now, my time has come to leave and open space for new kids and new memories. I love the people of this congregation so much, and I hope you can find a loving community in the people around you like I did. Thank you.
We extinguish our chalice today with words by Laurel S. Sheridan. Take from life its coals, not its ashes. Fan the flames of love and justice. Join hands and hearts in common endeavor, and there will be no limit to what we can achieve together.
We have taken the beach of knowledge apart, put it into buckets, losing grains along the way. We crawl into a gilded cage, locking the door behind us. We find comfort in chains, locks and links of ignorance and fear. We are happy to pull the wool over our eyes, smiling in our blindness. We say we are happy, we lie. We say this is what we want, we lie, we are alone. Surrounded by walls of glass, walls we love until we realize just how alone we are then. Then we lash out, we blame, we hurt, we lie, we have a key. Should we choose to use it, there is a way out. There is a place where inherent falls away, a place we must restore. We must take the sand, let it fall through our fingers, become the beach we once knew. We must play in that sand. Only then can we explore the ocean of the unknown.
Below ground, and I'll be crowned.